Hey guys, it's InGen. Just wanted to say, before I do anything, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been giving me on my latest Jurassic Park video. I've read all your comments. I always keep up with your comments, and I can see that there is an overwhelming demand for a second one. And I promise it's coming. What do they say in Camp Cretaceous? When Kenji says Kenji delivers or something like that. I don't know. But basically, yeah, more is coming for sure. This next one, I've been working pretty hard at it. I've been using new software like After Effects, for example. I've never used that before. So hopefully this one will look a lot more professional, I guess is the word. So it's coming. It will be here in, I wanna say, a tentative 2 to 3 months, hopefully, if all goes well. It could possibly take longer. It depends on how right things go, because like Dr. Malcolm says, if things can go wrong, chaos theory type shit, it will go wrong. So a little while ago, I asked you guys on my community post if you would like to see more casual videos in the meantime, sort of as little interviews while the animations are being made, and it was an overwhelming yes. So here I am now. Might as well just do a Jurassic tier list. Why the hell not? Everybody else is doing tier list videos, might as well just hop on that trend, I guess. So here we are. We got S tier up top. This one isn't really necessary, not seen, not read, because everything here on this list I have seen/read, so we don't really need to worry about that. So S to D. Okay, the first thing we got is Jurassic Park 3. So look, listen, we all know this was kind of when people started to realize, or maybe people started to feel it was sort of falling off, I guess that's the word. Jurassic was falling off after Jurassic Park 3. Personally, I don't agree, because as a kid, Jurassic Park 3 was always my favorite. But that was just like, my kid bias, like, because as a kid you don't really appreciate all like all that shit about like the original, all like the actual important part, which is like the plot and the characterization. You just want to see dinosaurs, and shit, man, Jurassic Park 3 delivered on that. I don't want to give it an A tier because it doesn't belong up here. It's not like super great, but it definitely is not C or D, at least in my opinion. I would give it a solid B, perfectly in the middle, if that's kind of like a good balance, I think, between, because truth be told, Jurassic Park 3, a lot of people shit on it, but I really actually quite liked it. I know what it is, it's not like it's just a fun blockbuster. And even with that in mind, I think it did a lot for the lore of the Jurassic series. When it comes to like the amalgam testing, like the Gene Guard Act, like the whole thing of the creation of the Spinosaur, and like the illegality behind it, all that Site B stuff. I love that stuff. I would love to see maybe a show, like a TV show or some sort of shorts type thing involving this time period of Jurassic, which I think is great. The Lost World. Let's move on to The Lost World. I gotta give it an S tier. Look, listen, shut up. Hey, don't say anything. Listen to me. Listen. I know there are people who love it, and then I know there are people who absolutely abhor it. Maybe that's too strong. There's some people who just they think it's mid. I'm not one of those people. I love The Lost World. As a kid, when I was younger, it was definitely Jurassic Park 3 over The Lost World. But now that I've got a couple years on me now, I definitely got to give The Lost World the edge, because it's just so much darker, more brutal. I think it adds a lot to the lore. The whole Peter Ludlow type stuff, I thought that was great. Soundtrack is amazing. Roland Tembo's a great character. There's just something about The Lost World, it's like comforting. It's really well made. It's really good. It's fantastic. I love The Lost World. The original Jurassic Park, D tier. That shit was ass. Look, listen, we all know this is going to S tier, right? We don't even need to talk about it. This is obviously up there. Fallen Kingdom. Okay, when I first went into theaters watching this movie, that opening scene, obviously, which is pretty much regarded as like the best cold open in any Jurassic that we've seen so far. Let me tell you, I was literally, I've never felt this way in a Jurassic movie. I was in the theaters, the whole mosasaur, and oh my god, especially when the guy turns around trying to get in contact with the helicopter, and the lightning flash with the Rex right behind him, that is pure Michael Crichton. I love that shit. I think the movie had a slight drop in quality after that. It didn't exactly hold up to that opening, but it was still very good. I liked it, but not so much that I would put it in an A, to be very honest. It was good. I just think, let me just drop it here and then I'll talk more about it. I think it's kind of, it permanently changed the setting of Jurassic forever. When I walked out of theaters, I mean, obviously people are used to it. I'm definitely used to it at this point, but when this movie dropped and I was going out of theaters, I was like, wait, hold on, dinosaurs are on the mainland now. This is kind of a huge change, you know what I'm saying? The idea of dinosaurs being on the mainland, you know, it was always something that was like talked about, but to actually see it happen, I'm gonna be honest, I did not like that idea at first. I was like, oh, okay, but okay, whatever. They're like everywhere now. It's like, what makes it special anymore? Like, okay, there's gonna be a T-Rex next to Walmart now. I mean, that's nice, whatever. But you know, as time went on, I embraced the idea, and it definitely had a lot of potential about like the whole mainland. You could bring up ideas of like illegal cloning and shit, which, you know, Dominion did go on to further develop, arguably. I guess we'll get to that later. Jurassic World. I had a great time with Jurassic World. That I would definitely easily give it an A tier. Out of all the Jurassic Worlds, I definitely think Jurassic World is the most sound when it comes to consistency. The plot, I think it was the best. You know, it was simple. It was just a skin of Jurassic Park, except, you know, oh, something goes wrong, shit breaks out, and I think it just worked. You know, sometimes simple is just, you know, better in my opinion. It wasn't anything too complicated, easy to follow, but it did add a lot of great lore. The whole Simon Masrani, the Masrani Global, loved all that. Sure, the kids, Zach and Gray, were kind of annoying, but it didn't really bother me. The Indominus was great. Basically, the thing is, this movie, it revitalized Jurassic, you know? Colin really, he brought Jurassic back from the dead with this movie. And to this day, watching Jurassic World in the theaters remains one of my greatest movie-going experiences ever. I legit, like the ending scene with Michael Giacchino's excellent score, the Rex walking onto the helipad and like roaring, like I was legit like 12, 13 years old, tearing up in theaters. This was great. I loved it. Okay, now my current project, Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park novel. This is easily an S tier. I would put it here, better than the Lost World movie. So, and now I know some people would even put it here. Some people would think it's better than the movie. Personally, I think the movie is slightly better because of certain changes, like including, for example, making John Hammond more of a sympathetic character. I personally prefer that John Hammond. But this novel is fantastic. As you guys already know, I'm like working to animate scenes from this. And I mean, it's incredibly dark. It's got great scenes that have never been put into the movie. It has a lot. Half of this thing is like reading a science book, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's like pages and pages of just like DNA sequences and like computer code and shit like that, and I love it for that. I feel like I'm reading a science textbook half of the time, but I'm having fun doing it. The Lost World. Michael Crichton's The Lost World. Another easy S tier in my opinion. I know some people didn't like it as much as the first one. Some people would even like make it a B or C. Personally, I really loved it. I cannot decide if it's better than the movie or not because I really like the movie. One thing I can say for sure, that it's definitely very, very different. Like when it comes down to the characters, there's like characters in the book that we've never even heard or seen in the movie. There's events that happen that's like totally changed. This could almost be a whole other movie based off, like, if it were to go off the book. It's not even, they're so different. But this in its own right is incredible. So many fantastic scenes. And I know what you're wondering. A lot of you have asked me, am I gonna animate scenes from The Lost World? Absolutely I will. It's too much of a gold mine to let go untouched. It's fantastic, phenomenal. These 4 easy S tiers in my opinion. Okay, Camp Cretaceous. I believe this is season 1. This I would put at an A tier because Camp Cretaceous, it very, very, very much satisfied me, at least when this first season came out. I was, like many other people, worried they're gonna make a kiddie show, tone it down, whatever, you know. But Camp Cretaceous, it started off with an absolute bang. This whole season was a banger. It was amazing. I think, like most people, one of my biggest concerns was, how are they gonna handle like deaths or like violence? But it did it very well and very tastefully for what is meant to be like a sort of kids/young adult show that adults can also enjoy, because the deaths were done very well. Every Indominus kill was fantastic. And it was actually quite dark for a quote unquote kids show, like Toro getting like burnt alive at the end looking like a crispy piece of toast. The kids were great. I can't say I disliked any character. Now, of course, everybody had their flaws, like Ben was like pretty wimpy and all that, but you know, that's how arcs start. They have to grow over a span of time, which I feel they all did. It added a lot to the lore for sure. There was a lot of Easter eggs that like really hardcore like fans who like really know the I can't even say that word. They know shit about the book. It's in the show, and you can like pick it up. You can pick up on it, like oh, that's what they're referencing. It's clear that a lot of care was put into season 1. One of my personal favorite things about it is the fact that it was a fake out because they're not gonna kill Ben, but the whole sequence leading up to like Ben's fake death was fantastic. Him like hanging off the monorail, like tears streaming from his eyes, like begging Darius to save him, and in the end he just falls in slow motion. That was fantastic. It really added a lot of depth to the show. This is fantastic. Season 1 was amazing. It really was. Battle at Big Rock. Now, this was kind of a bridge between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. And because it's pretty short, it's quite a simple story, there's not as much criticism you could put on it that like, it had this, that. It was simply so short that people couldn't find things to criticize about it, because it was just a simple point of view of like people in the regular world who are still getting accustomed to InGen's animals in the mainland. And I would also put this at A tier. It was great. The Allosaurus was handled a lot better than in Fallen Kingdom. I know a lot of people are not really happy with the Allosaur design. Me personally, I'm kind of neutral on it. I think it definitely looked better in Battle at Big Rock. I loved the whole fight it had with I think there were Sinoceratops and the baby was there were Nasutoceratops. That was great. I love the whole the callback to the Lost World when it hit the trailer and it like tipped over and everything. People were not a fan of the whole crossbow girl saving the day. Personally, I'm neutral on it. It's like if I can deal with Kelly kicking a raptor, I can deal with this. It was just whatever. But this was very well done. It was definitely very promising of what was supposed to come. I think this is season 2 of Camp Cretaceous. I would put this at B tier, because while it was a drop in quality from season 1, it wasn't nearly anything that's like bad. It was still very enjoyable. I had a great time watching it. I think the reason people didn't receive this one as well is because the first one was, following along the events of Jurassic World. So it was great to see all that callbacks and side-to-side references and, a more important plot, if that's the right term. And then in season 2, it's just like 2 poachers, I guess, which it's an interesting concept. It's just I think people were expecting a little more than just like 2 people on the island are trying to poach animals. but they were still handled very well. Mitch and Tiff, the whole Sinoceratops head like rotting in his tent, Hap being like a kind of like a redeemed Muldoon type of character. He was pretty good. But overall, while it was a drop in quality, I still enjoyed it very much. The whole the 3 Baryonyxes, I think, what are they? Grim, Limbo, and Chaos, they were great. Shooting, I don't know which one died, but Tiff shooting the Baryonyx and then getting her comeuppance later was great. Mitch trying to shoot at the Rex with his like bent rifle, that was also really good. And then of course there's like the build up to Brooklyn discovering what's E750 and all that. That was also really well done. Okay, season 3 of Camp Cretaceous. I'm very torn because honestly, if I would put this at an S tier. I really would, but I feel like that kind of does a disservice to these 4. So I'll put it at a very high A tier, bordering on S tier, because season 3 of Camp Cretaceous was simply just exquisite. It was phenomenal. The whole delving into the lore of Dr. Wu's like failed experiments, his build up to the Indominus and the Indoraptor. The Scorpius Rex was done very well, very well. This season was rightfully dark, as it should have been, when dealing with this just abomination of a creature. And just when you thought it was done, it delivered even more, because there's this whole plot of like trying to figure out what the E750 is, and then finding out there's more of it. It's like Godzilla 98, it can reproduce on its own, and then that's all over. They get defeated or die or whatever, and you're like, oh damn, okay, that's pretty good. The season ends, or you're like, okay, the season is ended by now. And then more people, like more mercenaries, come onto the island. You're like, oh, okay, maybe they sent for these kids or something. There's a great scene with the T-Rex in the rain. It eats that one guy, and then you're just like, damn! And then you hear off in the distance, you hear Marine 1, where are you? And then you're like, damn! It's actually Fallen Kingdom. That was a moment that's the moment that makes me want to put it in S tier. The connection to Fallen Kingdom, that was just chef's kiss perfect. It was just amazing. I have no words. It was, like Homelander says, it was perfect. Okay, as you can see, we are nearing the downhill portion here. Season 4 of Camp Cretaceous. I'll put it at C. And thing is, I was very excited to see the Spinosaurus return, but even the Spino couldn't save it from just its mundane, just dredging on of like nothing happening. It did a lot of expositional stuff, like the whole island, Kenji's father's whole Manticore Island thing, the whole Brad and his like little ecosystems that he's maintaining, everything. Wasn't a fan of Brad X at all. Those goofy ass Lego looking, goofy duber ass robots. But the Brads themselves, like the sort of military dog looking ones, those were cool, because you see videos of those on the internet all the time. I can see the applications of that in a universe like this. But the Brad X's were a bit too much. It was good still. I mean, lore wise, it was I wasn't going to the next episode going like, oh god, it's another one. I was still like eagerly awaiting the next episodes. It was just at a point you're just like, okay, well, what's really happening? Because this all just felt like a big setup to season 5. Speaking of season 5, I think I'll do that one next. See, here's the thing, I don't think it's as good as season 2, but I don't want to say it's as bad as season 4 or as just not good. I think I'll do this here. There we go. It's the first thing in C, because it's definitely a step up from this. Wait, no, hold on. You know what? I'll put it here. I'll put it here because it was a good enough ending. It had a lot more like dino fights and deaths and everything. The whole mind control thing, not really a big fan of that, because I think that's a bit too much. It reminds me of like the orca device in the MonsterVerse, but it was still, they did it in a, I guess, in a more tasteful way where it wasn't like super unbelievable. Other than that, the whole Spino rematch, the big Edie little Edie thing, the deaths of like the investors and Cash himself. I think that's his name, right? Cash or something. But yeah, that was well done. The ending was pretty good. The what's it called? Connection with the Benjamin Lockwood and the Lockwood estate, and then Maisie letting out the animals. That was cool. I would definitely love to see more of these guys, the campers. Other than that, yeah, I think it's definitely not terrible. It's fine. It's a good enough ending that people are satisfied, I think. Now, this boy over here, Jurassic World, Jesus Christ, Jurassic World Dominion. I know people are gonna be upset with me. I'll put it at D for Dominion, because my god, this movie was not what I expected it to be. So a couple of, maybe like a month or so back, I was talking with Swerve, and God bless him, he tried his hardest to convince me that Dominion was better than I thought it was. He really, basically, here's the thing. Here's how Swerve explained it to me. He said that think of Dominion as they said in some of the promos, like it's the ending of the Jurassic saga, the story that started all the way back in '93. And the way he described it kind of, I see where he's coming from for sure. Because look, when I went to this movie, it was pretty stupid of me, actually. Now that I think of, in hindsight, it was stupid of me to think they were done with this. They cannot be. This is like a multi-million-dollar franchise. But I was walking into this thinking, okay, this is the last Jurassic. There's no more after this. Very stupid of me, I know. But I was so caught up in the idea of like, okay, this is it. This is the ending. What can they gotta wrap up all the loose ends here. It's like, okay, you got the original trio coming back, Alan, Ellie, and Ian. You got the new people. They're all like meeting together. I was like, okay, this is the Avengers Endgame. They gotta wrap it up. Bring the Spino back. Bring Dilo back. You know, Dodgson. I was very, very excited for Dodgson to come back. And I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? Are the dinos all gonna die out? Are they just gonna be sent to an island and like never touched again? Are the government just gonna gas them all, kill them all? Like, this has to end somehow. And when I saw that, when I walked out of the theater, I was like, is that really it? Is that the movie? Is that the ending? Can that be considered an ending? I only had this feeling one other time when I was watching a movie, and that's when I walked out of Spider-Man Homecoming, and I was pretty disappointed at Homecoming. No Way Home fixed his issues for me personally, but I had that same feeling with Dominion. Now granted, I have only watched it once, so I gotta do a rewatch. But there's just so many bad decisions with this movie that I just can't wrap my head around. Like, why would they do that? I think the biggest one for me is cutting the prologue out, which pretty much defeats the whole purpose of that final fight with the Giga and the Rex. It's like, what's the comeuppance? Like, it's not in the movie. People who aren't like hardcore Jurassic fans who haven't seen the prologue on YouTube, they're gonna walk in and be like, oh, okay, he defeated it, that's cool, but it's like, it doesn't have the weight that it has for the people who have seen the prologue. It's an integral part of the movie, and it should be in there. Dodgson himself, I think Campbell Scott did a good job as Dodgson. I just think his character wasn't nearly as vicious and ruthless as I wished he would have been. He was like this awkward Tim Cook looking ass, fucking Mark Zuckerberg acting dude. Oh, do you have one of my bars? Do you have one of my bars? Like, bro, what are you talking about, dog? You literally kicked Sarah off a boat in the novel. What are you doing, man? And his little like goofy ass freak out dance when he fired Dr. Malcolm. Like, bro, what? To strike up a conversation with the Dilos before he gets killed in like the most uninteresting way possible, like a little light flickering flash and off-screen yell. Like, come on, he could have been handled so much better. I think Campbell Scott did a good job. It's just the overall direction of Dodgson, I was left wanting a lot more. There were definitely ups to this movie. Like, I had a good time watching it. I was of course dissatisfied, but there were some great scenes, like the Therizinosaurus scene, the what's it called, the whole Atrociraptor Malta chase while it was a little unbelievable in the fact that they couldn't actually catch anyone, but it was very well done. I from them coming out of the cages to the point where one of them falls off the runway, the back of the plane, I thought that was a great sequence. That's pretty much it, honestly. So yeah, that's for now. My opinions might change later, but for now, this is my Jurassic tier list. If you guys have something that you completely disagree with on here, or if you agree with almost everything, let me know in the comments down below. If this video is well received, I might just do more of these in between like the bigger animations that y'all are waiting on, and I'm definitely getting those. I'm definitely getting those done. I'm working on them, and I will try to finish them in a timely manner. There's definitely more coming, so keep an eye out for that. Other than that, I mean, I'm just honestly very grateful for the support I've gotten in those videos, and almost every single, I kid you not, like almost every comment is like, I want more, and I really appreciate y'all's enthusiasm. If this really like turns out to be sustainable, I might just keep doing this more and more. Maybe I'll start a Patreon. I don't know if you guys would be into that, maybe supporting the channel. But other than that, just be on the lookout for more content from me, I guess. More is definitely coming, and hopefully the next video I'll drop is the next Michael Crichton animation. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see y'all then. Catch ya.